Mr. Chair, you are live.
All right, thanks, Julian. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our first liquor board meeting of the year. This is the regularly scheduled Alcoholic Beverage Control Board meeting. It is Wednesday, the 3rd of January, 2024 at 7 p.m. All board members are present tonight. We have Vice Chair Claire Conger, Dick Peterson, Ryan Chitwood, and I would like to welcome our new board member, Chris Sheehan. Welcome aboard. Also with us tonight, we have Deputy City Clerk Cynthia Gaines and Assistant City Attorney Joelle Braithwaite. First item on the agenda, approval of the minutes. Has the board had the opportunity to review the minutes of our last meeting? And if so, any corrections or modifications?
Mr. Chairman, I move they be accepted.
I second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the minutes will stand as approved. Because this is a virtual hearing, written comment can be considered if it's submitted in advance of the hearing by going to www.annapolis.gov/ABC. Any individuals, members of the public who wish to comment on any agenda item may go to that website and submit written comment prior to tonight's hearing. With that, I'll declare our public hearing open. We have one item on our public agenda tonight, an application for a new alcoholic beverage license, a Class E-1 AB beer, wine, and liquor, on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days a week with a special Sunday license. In addition, off sale Monday through Saturday during authorized hours. In addition, off sale Sunday during authorized hours by J. Jeremy Parks, Jennifer Stevens, Thomas, and Evan Tormey for the premises known as Taylor Avenue Hotel LLC, trading as Annapolis Dual Brand Cafe, 200 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Give everybody a minute to fire up their cameras and microphones here.
Oh, Mr. Chair, I also have a Marie Carbone. Is that Steve, is she with you? No? Okay, thank you.
No problem, thanks. All right, Mr. Hyatt, good to see you this evening. If you could just introduce yourself, put your name and address on the record, and then I'm going to ask for your licensees, your proposed licensees, to do the same thing, and we'll ask Mr. Tullier to do the same thing before you get started, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy New Year, everybody. Stephen Hyatt for the applicant, Taylor Avenue Hotel LLC, 200 Westgate Circle, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Great. And then we'll start with Ms. Thomas. If we could get your full name and address for the record, please.
Muted.
Muted.
Jennifer Stebbins Thomas, 279 Wybird Street in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
All right. Mr. Tormey, same thing.
Good evening. Happy New Year. Evan Tormey, 15 Recreation Road in Rye, New Hampshire, 03870.
And Mr. Tullier, if you could do the same thing for me, please.
Muted.
Shep Tillier, 614 Taman Drive in Annapolis.
All right, great. And everybody who's planning on testifying tonight, except for Mr. Hyatt, if you could raise your right hand while I administer the oath, please.
What?
Is
Excuse me.
Jeremy Parks there?
He's trying to get in. He's using Marie's Zoom.
Oh, okay.
With him, and that's why.
There we go. That's the confusion. Yeah, Julian, if you could just pull him in.
Bringing him in right now.
Sorry.
His name is definitely not Marie, so I can see the confusion there.
I will change that as well. Oh, he declined. Hang on. Mr. Parks, you have to accept that invitation I'm sending you right now. He keeps declining. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Parks, how are you?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. How are you?
Great, thanks. Could you just give us your full name and address for the record, please?
Sure. J. Jeremy Parks. I live at 940 Placid Court, Arnold, Maryland, 21012.
All right, great. Now, everybody who's planning on testifying, if you could just raise your right hand really quickly, I'm going to administer the oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the statements you're about to give will be true and correct?
I do.
I do.
Okay, I note an affirmative yes for everybody. All right, thanks for going through that. Mr. Hyatt, we'll turn it over to you. You can present your case by way of proffer testimony or a combination of both. I would note that all of the exhibits that you've submitted prior to this hearing will be accepted as part of the official record.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. Happy New Year to everybody. A couple of housekeeping matters. First of all, thank you for the continuance that was granted back in November. Appreciate that consideration. I believe you all received Director Jakubiak's November 17th letter explaining the reason for that continuance and fully explaining that we've complied and resolved the issue, and that the hotel approval does comply with, we'll call it Title 21 World Planning and Zoning, and that we are now out of 21 in the city code and into Title 7 in the board's purview, in your world. So I'm not going to get too far into the weeds on that unless the board has questions, which of course we're happy to answer. We'll touch on a few points, clarifying points, just for the record, that were addressed during that continuance. But the simple fact remains, this is a hotel and everybody's excited about it, since this is the first hotel coming to the city in almost 16 years. It's a pretty big deal, and it's taken a lot of work to get here. I'm going to run through the three applicants, Mr. Parks, Mr. Tormey, and Mrs. Thomas, and then we have Shep Toulier to address the criteria the applicant satisfies necessary for the board to approve our application. Unless there are specific questions in regard to the continuance from the board, I'm gonna jump right in.
Yeah, go right ahead, and no need to qualify Mr. Toulier. He'll be accepted as an expert. He's testified before this board many times.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Parks.
Good evening.
Good evening. You've already stated your name and address for the record, so just tell us, for the record, how long have you been a resident and a registered voter in Anne Arundel County, Maryland?
A long time, over 10 years.
Over 10 years. Thank you. And is it correct that you hold a 25% membership interest in the applicant Taylor Avenue Hotel LLC?
Yes.
And do you hold an interest in any other alcoholic beverage licenses in the state of Maryland?
No.
Okay. And you're familiar with the application. To the best of your knowledge, is everything in the application correct?
Yes.
Okay. And again, Mr. Chairman, I mentioned we were going to touch on some of the reasons for the continuance. This being one of them, we want to clarify that the first floor layout of the hotel has evolved, it has been refined since it was initially approved by the Planning Commission. But all that to say, it is in substantial compliance as stated in Mr. Jakubiak's letter. But Mr. Parks, could you tell us how you got from the original version to the current version that's before the board this evening?
As you had stated, the original layout was conceptual in its nature. We had a lot of componentry in it that is typical of this style of hotel, but nothing that was defined as required. We anticipated originally for there to be a pool and a fitness area, a lobby area with soft seating and, meeting room and workplace, a breakfast food service area with the prep kitchen. But after going through and working with our partners who are, experts in this and going through the layout, we eliminated the pool. We expanded and shifted the fitness area to feel more residential. We redesigned the main area, the main entrance area, and the lounge area, lobby area. There's still the same soft seating, but we reconfigured the seating area for the breakfast area the prep kitchen, and we added the bar counter area within the lounge to sort of define that area.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I can share a plan, but I think the description is pretty adequate. Again, this was all covered in Director Kubiak's letter, but afterwards, if there's questions, happy to go over those details with the board. So, Mr. Parks, thank you for that clarifying point. Have you taken the time to familiarize yourself with the rules and regulations of the board and the city alcohol beverage control board?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the rules and regulations of the board.
Okay, very good. And then I assume you are aware that you're responsible for the liquor license violations, assuming this license is granted, even if you're not present in the hotel or involved in the day-to-day operations, correct?
Yes, I'm fully aware of my obligation and responsibility under the license.
And have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No.
And have you ever been found guilty of violating law in the state governing the sale of alcoholic beverages?
No.
Have you ever previously held an alcoholic beverage license that was revoked?
No.
Okay, very good. Those are all my questions for Mr. Parks. He'll be around and available to answer questions from the board. I would like to ask Mr. Tormey a few questions. Evan, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
All right, great. So again, Evan Tormey, you've already stated your name and address for the record. You're also familiar with the application, and to the best of your knowledge, everything on the application is accurate. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you hold an 8.33% membership interest in the applicant Taylor Avenue Hotel, LLC?
Yes.
Do you hold any interest in any other licenses, alcohol beverage licenses in the state of Maryland?
No.
Have you taken the time to familiarize yourself with the rules and regulations of the board?
I have, thank you. Yes, and I'm familiar.
And you're also aware that you're responsible for the liquor license violations under a license granted, even if you're not present and involved in the day-to-day operations?
Yes, I'm fully aware of my obligations and responsibilities under the license.
Okay, good. So let's talk about your experience owning and operating hotels similar to this Annapolis hotel. First of all, do you have the experience, and tell us about it?
I do, thank you. I have more than 13 years of experience developing and owning and operating hotels. I primarily work on the development side, but also work closely with our management company and our operations team. And over the last 10 years, I've overseen development and opening of 20 plus limited or select service and upper mid-scale hotels licensed with Marriott and Hilton. We're an award-winning developer with Marriott and Hilton. And our operating company, Colin Management, is also award-winning with both of those entities.
That's great, thank you. Of those 20 plus hotels, how many of them include the sale of alcohol as part of the hotel operation?
All of them.
And is that offered through the hotel and not a third party? How does that work?
That's correct. A small bar lounge is common, and in all of our hotels, it's an amenity for our guests. It's not advertised to the outside world as, Evan's Bar and Grill or anything like that. But whether it be a Residence Inn or a Fairfield or a Courtyard, Hampton Inn, we have bars in small restaurants to support those bars in all of our hotels. We find that, guests like the convenience of meeting a coworker if they're traveling for business in that bar and have a drink before they go out to dinner or maybe afterwards. We also find that it really activates the lobby of the hotels to have a small bar in there. We find that people enjoy working there in the afternoon, having other people around. I walk through our hotels frequently and see someone who might be just having a glass of wine where they work on some emails or, catch up on the day. So it's a huge amenity we find for our guests.
Does
And
that
really
include
just,
the,
it's a part and parcel to our operations experience.
okay, great. And does that include the, the market portion of the
Yes,
operation?
yeah. And so the market, I think most people who travel are familiar. Markets are there to serve the guests of the hotel. You forget something, you need a drink, you need a dessert. If you have a microwave in your room, you might have a Stouffer's lasagna that you can buy out of the market. We also have beer and wine in the market for off-premise consumption. Say a guest wants to, if we have a local wine or beer in the market, they want to take home a souvenir, or they might want to just enjoy something in their room, not within the licensed premises.
And just for the record, for the board's edification, the licensed premises not include the rooms. It's really just select areas on the first floor, which is really the whole reason for the off-premise portion of the license. So Evan, would you say is it a fair statement to say that the sale of alcohol in some capacity is a customary use for a limited service or business service type hotel?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go through the just basic hours of operation elements. Are going to be here.
Sure. As a hotel, it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Guests check in and check out at all hours. We expect most of them check in before 11 p.m. and out before 11 a.m., but it varies. Breakfast service in the hotel is 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. Those hours may vary slightly seasonally depending on the occupancy of the hotel. Typically, we open a little later for breakfast on the weekends and at 6 a.m. during the week for the business traveler. The bar lounge is intended to operate from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Obviously, it's a slow night. We wouldn't necessarily stay open till 11 p.m. if we don't have a lot of guests in house, but those are our sort of standard operating hours. I think you'll find that in most hotels that you visit and even restaurants. If they don't have the business after a certain hour, they will shut down. But it's even more, I think, pronounced in the hotel operation where it is such a small, limited bar that's serving primarily the guests of the hotel. Market is open 24/7. The front desk is manned 24/7. So if someone wants to come down in the middle of the night because they need a toothbrush or a razor or a snack, or they're looking to buy a beer, as long as it's within the approved hours, they would be able to purchase that from the market.
Okay, and how about seating capacity for the indoor and outdoor spaces?
Sure. On the license plan, I think we're showing 140 seats inside between, they think 7 seats at the bar, some soft seating around it, and then the dining area. And then outside, we have 32 patio seats, which is directly adjacent to the bar lounge area.
Okay, very good. Is the hotel going to have any type of entertainment?
There's none planned. There are televisions in the lobby public space, so there might be news, weather, sports on those televisions, but no live entertainment planned.
Okay. Who's going to manage all the food and beverage operations of the hotel?
We've hired a general manager, Jason Schwimmer, and he has completed the tips training. He will also complete, I think he actually told me the other day he has completed it. I don't have the certification yet, but the alcohol awareness and crowd management training.
Very good. Will someone who has completed their training in an approved course, both alcohol awareness and crowd manager training, remain on the hotel premises at all times whenever alcoholic beverages are available for purchase?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Just a few more questions for you. Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No.
Have you ever been found guilty of violating a law in a state governing the sale of alcoholic beverages?
No.
And have you ever held an alcoholic beverage license that was revoked?
No, I have not.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tormey, that's all I have for you. I would like to bring Jennifer on. Jennifer, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. And again, Jennifer Stebbins Thomas, you stated your address for the record. A few questions for you as well. You're familiar with the application, and to the best of your knowledge, everything on that application is accurate, correct?
Correct.
And you hold an 8.33% membership interest in the applicant, Taylor Avenue Hotel LLC. Is that correct?
I do. Yep.
Okay. And do you hold an interest in any other alcoholic beverage licenses in the state of Maryland?
I do not.
Okay, great. I just asked you that. Have you familiarized yourself with the rules and regulations of the board?
Yes, I am familiar with the rules and regulations of the board.
Okay. And you're also aware then that you're responsible for liquor license violations under a license granted, even if you're not present in the hotel or involved in day-to-day operations?
Yes, I'm aware.
And let's talk about your experience. What's your experience owning and operating hotels similar to this one?
So I am a partner with Eben in XSS Hotels. I traditionally handle the legal and financial aspects of our business. But as a developer, owner, operator, we have, over the 10 years that I've been working at XSS, owned, developed, and managed over 40 hotels, each of which have included the sale of alcohol.
Great. And Evan already explained, I assume, similar to this hotel, the sale of alcohol is through the operation of the hotel and not through some third party. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, very good. Was there anything else you cared to add to Mr. Farmer's testimony regarding hotel operations?
I thought Eben did a great job.
I agree. I think he did a great job. Then, have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No.
Very good. And have you ever been found guilty of violating a law in the state governing the sale of alcoholic beverages?
No.
Have you ever had an alcoholic beverage license that was revoked?
No, I have not.
Very good. That's all I have for you, but stick around and we'll see where this goes. Shep, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. And you've stated your name and address for the record, and the board has accepted you as an expert in your respective fields. And I, again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Shep, are you familiar with the Park Place development and the surrounding area?
I am, yes.
And have you familiarized yourself with DPZ or the Department of Planning and Zoning's approval history for Park Place?
Yes, I did. The original Park Place dates back to around 2006, 7, and 8. And there was a planned development to get the approval for the entire Park Place project there, with the office, residential, and hotel and restaurants, etc. And then I did see the clarification letter that went to the board from Mr. Jakubiak, the head of planning and zoning, and essentially spelling out in some detail how the application and the zoning approval that had been granted is supported by the various steps along the way, including the Planning Commission's written decision in 2020, and then the filing of the various permits, and then the Planning and Zoning Department signing off formally in September 14th of 2023, confirming that it's properly zoned. So that issue, I believe, has been resolved, and now we are here, as you pointed out, Mr. Hyatt, to comply with the Title VII provisions.
Okay, very good. Let's talk about the surrounding licenses. Tell us about the licensed hotels and other businesses in the surrounding area.
Sure. Well, I looked at the inner West Street corridor, basically from Church Circle to Westgate Circle. And there are 3 hotels in that corridor. We have the Westin Annapolis, which is related to Park Place. We have the Hilton Garden Inn, which is a little further down West Street towards the Circle. And then closer to the Cathedral Street intersection, we have the Graduate Annapolis. All of those hotels have liquor licenses, and the Graduate has the same license that we're applying for today, which is an E-1 X, A, and B, and G. So the only other purveyors of the sale of alcoholic beverages would be Capital Liquors, which is on West Street, and Grits Liquors, which is in the first block of West Street all the way up by the Circle. So those are the ones that I examined relative to whether there'd be any impacts.
Okay, thank you. And in your opinion, what impact, if any, will this license have on those existing establishments you've identified?
Well, I mean, I think it'll be the issuance of a liquor license for this hotel would have minimal impact on those other license holders. And if the patrons of the hotel, which I suppose many of them would want to go down to Park Place and then walk down West Street, they would be passing a package store at Capital Liquors, and then if they went further, they'd pass the Grits Liquor store. So those would be 2 opportunities for those establishments to have potentially new customers if that is something that those folks desired to do at the time. So I don't think there's really any impact that's going to be measurable with respect to those other existing licenses.
Okay, very good. And what about the uniqueness? Do you believe that the proposed hotel here, the operation, including the food and beverage operations, are unique?
Well, it is the first dual brand hotel. You have the Fairfield Inn and then the Residence Inn, which is the longer stay, service provided. There are none in the city of Annapolis. And as you mentioned earlier, the city hasn't had a hotel in 15 or 16 years. So I think that this specific use with respect to this application is unique in that sense.
Okay, good. How about public need? Do you believe there is public need for the alcoholic beverage license we've requested at this location?
I do. Well, first of all, Annapolis is fortunate. It has over 4 million visitors a year. The location of this license is convenient not only to Westgate Circle and the West Street corridor, but also the Navy Stadium and also downtown. And we've heard that this is something that is a customary use, incidental use to this type of a hotel. I did review the Maryland Court of Appeals case for the Quan application, and the language that the Court of Appeals found is that the license needs to be convenient, useful, appropriate, suitable, proper, or conducive to the accommodation of the public. I think that the provision of alcoholic beverage license here and the service of alcoholic beverages to patrons and guests would certainly fall within that standard. So I think that there is a public need here. And again, I'm sure pretty much everybody who's on this particular virtual hearing has stayed in a hotel where they've had that opportunity to partake in some sort of beverage of an alcoholic nature at a hotel that they stayed at. So I think it's commonplace, but also under the code in Maryland, I believe it is an accommodation to the public and should so be granted.
Okay, thank you. And about generally the impact on the health, safety, and welfare of the community, what impact from this license, if granted?
Well, I think it's going to be, favorable impact to have this overflow parking lot, which has been vacant for these past 15 years, to turn into this, and now currently, under construction hotel. It is right across Taylor Avenue from the police department with respect to the public safety provision. And this is a classic case of infill development, because now you have a first class hotel operation where previously there was this, just a pavement, just a parking lot. I think that the other thing I didn't mention was just that Annapolis is currently underway on starting its update to its comprehensive plan, and infill development is specifically something that is highlighted, pursued, and recommended. It is a goal and a policy that the plan is seeking to implement, and I think this particular development at this location does just that.
Great. I agree. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my questions for the witnesses. We are certainly happy to answer any questions of the board or share any plans or images if you have any.
All right, thanks, Mr. Hyatt. First things first, I appreciate everybody reviewing the letter that we got from planning and zoning. Just so everybody's clear, you cannot alter the proposed floor plan of the bar, which is 770 square feet, without submitting additional plans. Everybody understands that, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure that that was clear on the record. Couple questions. When do you plan on opening? And the reason I'm asking is to kind of solidify a pickup date if the board is inclined to grant the application.
We'll defer to either Eben, Jen, or Jeremy on that one.
I couldn't understand that.
No, my question was when they're planning on opening, Dick.
I heard your question.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear the answer.
Oh, I
I
said I'll
think he's gonna
defer to one of the actual operators.
Yeah, currently our construction, our general contractor is targeting a March 8th construction completion date.
Okay.
And we have some time to get training done, and so we're aiming to open the hotel no later than April 1st.
So do you want to do an April 1st liquor license pickup date, or do you want to do a March 1st liquor license pickup date? The reason we ask is there's a clock that starts ticking if this is approved. You have a certain period of time in which to pick up the license before you have to, request an extension. So I just want to make sure.
I'd say March 1st.
March 1? Okay. All right. How many staff members are you planning on hiring just for the service of alcohol?
Just for the service of alcohol?
Yeah, that's what
we're
really
in the neighborhood of 3 to 4, I think, to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to make sure that they're all alcohol awareness trained, tips trained?
Yes. Yep.
You guys thought about a carding policy? I know this probably is not going to be a happening spot for underage individuals, but do you guys have a policy in mind about carding individuals who may be with a parent that look to be 21 or something along those lines?
Yes, all of our staff are trained, and as I mentioned, we have bars in all of our hotels. This is part of our training as well as Marriott's training prior to opening.
And you said, just to reiterate, the hours of the lounge, you're expecting about 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, does the board have any questions regarding this request? Go ahead, Dick.
I do. Your patio seats that you mentioned, are you planning on serving alcohol there?
Yes, that would be the intent, and we have fenced that patio area so it's enclosed.
And what, what would the hours of serving be there?
Similar, probably not as late at night, but it'd be 5 to 9 or something like that.
Yeah, because I'd like to hold you to that. I know right now there are some 7 undivided lots across the street that are eventually going to be residential. So I want you to be aware of the fact that it will be residential, and you could be getting some complaints from that.
Yes, and the patio doesn't face directly towards that development on Taylor Avenue, but understood.
And Commissioner or Member Peterson, I'll point out that there's a buffer, there's fencing, and also right across the street from the police station. So if things get too rowdy, you can call the chief of police to come down.
Yeah, but if you call the chief of police, then we hear about it. So
That's fair. Well,
just trying to avoid embarrassment for the new licensees.
Yep, appreciate that very much.
Any other questions? No, Mr. Hyatt, anything you want to add?
No, I thank you for the continuance, and thank Mr. Kubiak for his letter, and Cindy for coordinating, as always. Team effort here, and I think this is a big deal. I don't want to understate it too much. A new hotel for the first time in 15 years, it's hard to get things done in the city of Annapolis. So the applicants should be commended for sticking it out and getting it done.
We're very excited to be opening our doors in the city of Annapolis this spring.
Good. Well, with nothing else, do I hear a motion regarding this application for a new alcoholic beverage license, Class E-1 AB beer, wine, and liquor, on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days a week with a special Sunday license. In addition, off sale Monday through Saturday during authorized hours. In addition, off sale Sunday during authorized hours by J. Jeremy Parks, Jennifer Stevens Thomas, and Evan Toomey for the premises known as Taylor Avenue Hotel LLC, trading as Annapolis Dual Brand Cafe, 200 Taylor Ave, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401, with a pickup date of March 1, 2024.
I move we approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, guys, your request is granted. Thanks so much for your time tonight, and thanks for pushing this along.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you,
Thank you.
commissioners.
Bye.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Next up.
Oh, Cindy's got her hand up.
Oh, yep, Cindy, go ahead.
Hi, Jimmy. The next one canceled.
Oh, okay.
Paulette Carroll.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Hope everything's all right. Well, then we'll go to number 4 here. A request for a change of ownership of a corporate structure of a license from HHLP Annapolis liquor holder to 1776 Portfolio REIT Merger Sub LLC, trading as the Annapolis Waterfront Hotel, 80 Compromise Street, Annapolis 21401. Hey, Leanne, how are you? Good. We got a mute button.
Sorry.
Yeah, no
Good
problem.
Good evening. I'm well. Thank you very much. Hope the board is as well. And Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year. If you could just give us your name and address fully for the record and go right ahead.
You got it. Leanne Schreckengoss with Royston Muller McLean in Reed, 102 West Pennsylvania Avenue, Suite 600, Towson, Maryland, 21204.
All right.
And I am here on behalf of HHLP Annapolis Liquor Holder LLC, just to give the board an explanation of a letter I filed with the board on November 15th.
All right. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about the corporate change we got here.
Yeah. So basically what's happening is KSL Capital Partners is a private equity fund that has acquired Hersha, which was also a private equity fund. So that was a merger at the top of the food chain. Down here at the bottom of the food chain is the licensee, which is Annapolis Liquor Holder LLC. Its ownership is not changing. Its licensees are not changing. The operation of the hotel is not changing. I even stayed there this past Saturday and had a wonderful time. So I just wanted to confirm for the board that there is no transfer of the liquor license because the immediate ownership of the licensee is remaining intact. It is the ownership of the 98% owner of the licensee that is changing.
Got it.
So the ownership structure is staying identical. And like I said, nothing's changing with the operation of the restaurant and the hotel and the restaurant. So just wanted to clarify that for the board. If the board has any questions or needs any additional information, I'm happy to answer.
All right, thanks. Does the board have any questions regarding this request? All right. Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the request for change of ownership? Dick said something, but he was muted. So we'll take Claire. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Request is granted. Thanks, Ms. Schreckengoss. Good to see you.
Thank you all very much. Take care.
All right. So next we have Cindy has graciously put together our 2023 report. Has everybody had a chance to look at it? Do we have any questions about it? All right. Well, then I would move that we approve it as is.
Second.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much for all your work on that, Cindy. I know that's not the most fun thing in the world to do. And then last but not least, we received a late online form submittal at last meeting. Wasn't provided timely enough for us to consider at our last meeting. It was from Jim Conlon, submitted, I think, on December 2nd at 7:33 a.m. So the subject was the 424 4th Street Adams Ribs license. This is something that the board has already considered, the board has already approved. So unless anybody has anything else to add, my recommendation was we take no action on the comment.
I think that's fair. With no further comments.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion then that we take no action. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, no action taken on that. That's all we got tonight, folks. Unless anybody has anything else they'd like to discuss.
Well, I want to welcome Chris. We've been without a member for several months now, so Chris, welcome to the ABC board, and I wish everybody else, all of you, a happy new year.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
And Chris, if you ever have any questions, you can, reach out to Cindy or Joelle. They're both fantastic, helpful people who, against better judgment, will always take your call. So they're always willing to help out or, reach out to any board member if you have any questions on anything. Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Cool. Yep. Thanks. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I would move that we adjourn for the evening.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.